Happy Spiritual Sunday! Yay! Here we are live in Boca. Let's think, here in Boca, it was, it's very unusual, but it was just raining. So it was a big downpour, and then of course it slows down, and then the sun comes out. So you and I have to ask as students of Kabbalah, and I never really thought about it, so we're learning together, really what does it mean? Why is it happening? And especially here in Boca, I'm sure in other places, you can drive. I remember we first moved to Florida, and we came from London. So in London, they say if you don't like the weather, you wait 10 minutes. And I thought, what does that mean? And then I saw it, I was on the street one day in a little shopping area, and all of a sudden it started to downpour. So people stopped under the overhang, and they just stood there. And literally within 10 minutes, it stopped, and then they started walking again. Like, you put them on pause, and then they start going again. So we moved to Florida, and after a couple of days, I realized, Florida is like London, except here, if you don't like the weather here, you wait 20 minutes, and then it changes. And then one day, I'm driving down the road in a downpour. I mean, I literally couldn't see probably a foot ahead of me, a block and a half, and then all of a sudden, like it was just a straight wall, all of a sudden now, you go out of it, and now it's sunny. A block and a half. So here we just had this big downpour, then it stopped, and then the sun comes out. So for you and I who are learning Spiritual Sunday and learning in the Kabbalah Center, we know that water is mercy. It's liquid light. Liquid light. And maybe that should be one of our Spiritual Sundays. What happened with Noah and the flood, remind me. If you write me, I'll remember, and then maybe we can do that when I come back from Hong Kong. Which I might as well tell you now, next week will not be live here in person. I'll be in Hong Kong teaching a group over there, and then I'll be back live the next week. All right? So you and I know that water is liquid light. And therefore, when we see rain, what we should be doing is accepting and channeling the light of mercy that's coming from above. I mean, think about it. How do you wash your car? Water. How do you wash your dishes? Water. How do you wash your body? Water. Why? Why don't we wash with peroxide? I don't know. Whatever else is out there, whatever. Right? Why? Because we know water is the most unusual substance on earth. And I don't want to get into it because, like I said, maybe we'll do it another time. But it's the only substance on earth, the only one, that exists in all three forms, gas, liquid, and solid, by nature. Everything else you got to force into one or the other, right? But water exists in all three. So what you and I want to be doing, especially or if you're in rainy areas over there, I think maybe Oregon, right? Bruce, I'm pretty sure it rains a lot over there, no? Just think of channeling the light of mercy. Don't just get caught up in, I forgot my umbrella, I'm getting soaked, how do I walk to the car, or whatever it may be. Channel the light of mercy. Realize it's from the cosmos is giving us a chance to cleanse more of our negativity. Like we always call it our spiritual dirt. Clean our spiritual dirt, right? So it's not only the rain, but it's also the energy of mercy cleansing us. So we're going to do our affirmation and get right to it because I want us to get to the original sin. So what's the purpose of our affirmation? To keep engraving deeper and deeper and deeper in our consciousness the truth, removing those layers of negativity that we've carried for lifetimes to believe anything less than we are pure and perfect beings of light. Let me make sure. Okay, so let's say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. Now remember, the universe heard you say that. So you're committed. You don't want to speak falsely. Right? Okay, so let's just get into it. We want to talk about the original sin, but from the Kabbalistic, from the Zohar's point of view, what that is. So let's just start, for those of you who may be new or newer, or it's always a good reminder for all of us anyway, that the 5 books of Moses, the Kabbalists teach us, they are true. Those things did happen. It is historical. But we don't want, especially you and I, we don't want to just read the story and then think about some sort of emotional, psychological understanding of it. Because you and I have come to learn, as the Zohar teaches us, if a person believes or looks at the stories of the Bible only on their literal level, meaning that's all they're going to take is the literal level. Abraham did this, Moses did that, they walked through the desert, whatever it is, it says they are, it's even a stronger word, but fools. Just fools to believe that's the only thing that the Bible's trying to give us. In fact, Rabbi Shimon in the Zohar says, I have friends who could write better stories if that's all it is. But you and I have come to learn that the 5 books of Moses are channeling light in a coded way. That's why we can't only try and understand it on a literal level. Why we need the Zohar and the true Kabbalistic interpretation, understanding of what it means. And so here, how many of you remember the story of the Garden of Eden? Because that's where we're going. That's where they say the original sin, the Garden of Eden. But we want to look at it a little differently, because it's not them. What the Zohar is really emphasizing to us is there's, as we always talk about, the Zohar is the blueprint of the universe. Plain and simple. It's universal laws. They are immutable laws, and they belong to everybody. So the Zohar does not belong, like some people might say, the 5 books of Moses are Jewish, right? Then you have the Christian Bible, the Muslim Bible, you have the Mormon Bible, you have the Hindu Bible, all these different Bibles that belong to those religions. Zohar doesn't belong to any religion, because it's not about religion. It is the universal laws, like gravity. Which religion does gravity belong to? Which religion should keep people away from gravity? No, gravity is ours, you can't have it. No, it's universal. Doesn't matter what you believe, what religion you are, who you are, gravity is gravity. So the Kabbalists are giving us that same understanding. So what we want to take out of today's lesson is the Kabbalistic, not just even a spiritual understanding, but the true Zohar's understanding of the Garden of Eden story. And most importantly, it's the light for you and I to understand this technology, how it's still happening today. Because when the Big Bang happened, let's say, and gravity came into existence, it didn't last for 1,000,000 years, 1,000,000,000 years, 10 billion years. It's 14.5 billion years since the Big Bang by Kabbalistic understanding. Just want to emphasize that. The Kabbalists said it was 14.5 billion years when science was saying it's 25. Then, of course, science got more technological and they said, oh, no, it's about 15. So they finally started to come into alignment with the Kabbalists. Okay? So 14 billion years ago, when gravity came into existence, it doesn't last for 14, 15, 16 billion years and then fall out and something else takes its place. It lasts for the whole aspect of creation. As long as the physical universe exists, there is gravity. So the Kabbalists teach us in the same way. When we left, remember, just quickly, and again, as all the teachers will encourage you, if you haven't taken Kabbalah 1 at all, take it. It is literally the system of life, why we're here, how we got here, why we have challenges in our life, and how to transform, not get rid of those challenges, how to turn darkness to light, chaos to order. I mean, if you had a machine that could turn lead to gold, would you be looking for gold or for lead? Lead, because the only way to increase the amount of gold you have is by transforming lead to gold. So we teach you from Kabbalah 1 forward. And again, if you haven't taken it in a year, take it again. Go back and review. We teach you how to turn every challenge into a blessing, every aspect of darkness into light, every form of chaos and disarray into harmony and order. That's it. So we're not running away from challenges. Because if you run away from it, guess what? They chase you. If you run at your challenges, then in essence, by transforming them, they essentially run away. They disappear, like darkness disappears in the face of light. So when we came out of the endless world as one soul filled with the endless light of the Creator, we created this world, and we started off with something similar, if you will, in obviously a limited way, to the endless world. The endless world, it was one soul, a vessel filled with the light of the Creator, and the life force itself in perfect unity. So when we come in here, what do you think of the Garden of Eden? Does the Garden of Eden look like a desert? Does it look like where it's torrential storms and things like that? What is the Garden of Eden? What would be your imagination? Amazing, right? The Garden of Eden, utopia, everything green, lush, like everything you could imagine. The temperature is perfect, right? So where I stood, the temperature would be 60. Where you stand, maybe you enjoy 70. But wherever we were, we had everything perfect. That was what was going on in the Garden of Eden. But once that one soul was divided into Adam and Eve, which was the purpose. If you're by yourself, it's harder to share. Yes, you and I learn how to channel light, which could be considered sharing with ourselves, not receiving, but revealing our light. But in simple terms, there had to be two people. So they could either, heaven forbid, have conflict, or they could have unity. Because we came here to imitate the Creator, and the Creator is unconditional love. Well, you could always say, well, I can unconditionally love myself. And maybe you and I, at this point in creation, need to also have an aspect of that. But back then, when that one being was pure and perfect, had just come out of the endless world, we needed somebody else to be able to act with unconditional love in spite of what they did. That's what unconditional means. So then here you have Adam and Eve, two beings from which we all come. So their soul contained all 8 billion souls of the people who exist today. So we can't say, oh, them. They did it, right? And we are suffering because of what they did. No, you and I all had a part in that. We are all part of Adam and Eve. Bless you. See, it's true. That's what we have to hold in our mind. So as we discuss this, I want you to think, and we're going to make very clear how it is you and me, and how to this day, even if you don't believe the story, at least take the technology, take the understanding, because it's practical for today's world. That for me was the best thing that the center emphasized, how to live in a daily way this technology. It wasn't about let's just learn intellectual Kabbalah or intellectual wisdom or things like that. I think I've shared with you, and just briefly, when my father was part of the city council, the local city council, we had a city manager. And I remember, I was 10, 11 years old, and my father would look at us and say, you know, the city manager, he's got 3 college degrees. He can tell you how a watch is made. He can tell you where it comes. He can tell you all the parts of it. He just can't tell you the time. So what good is all that intellectual understanding if you can't make it practical? So the Kabbalah Center, it's the most practical way to use the wisdom of the Zohar. Because we have a lineage back to the author or the channel of the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon. Through all the lineage, the Ari, the Baal Shem Tov, all the way to Rav Ashlag, the Bala Sulam is called, to Rav Brandwein, to the Rav Berg, and now to Michael Berg. So we have a lineage, which is why it's so practical, and our most important project, which we always talk about, spreading the Zohar. Because that, if you believe Rabbi Shimon in the Zohar, he says Moses told him, the only way to see peace on earth with mercy is the Zohar, the book of the Zohar. Not the teaching, teaching's important. Not just the learning is important. Not the wisdom, it's important, but the book itself, because it shines the infinite light. Okay, so back to the Garden of Eden. So here we are, and some of you remember, and again, for us, let's call it metaphorically, there was Adam and Eve, there were 2 trees, and what were those 2 trees? The tree of life and the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Well, how come when the Bible says, there were lots of trees, right? And Adam and Eve were told they could eat of all the trees. So why is it only emphasized the tree of life, or the tree of life and the tree of knowledge, good and evil? What about all the other ones? Because essentially that's all you and I learn. What was the tree of knowledge, good and evil? Well, let's start with the tree of life. Tree of life means it was just pure light. Endless world, there's only light. Was there chaos and negativity in the endless world? No or no? A little reverse. You don't know? No or no? Trying to decide which no you want to, right? No, it's just pure light. That was the Garden of Eden, pure light. So then what was the tree of knowledge, good and evil? Once we came and took on the essence, even though Adam and Eve weren't flesh and blood, as dense as we are, but they were ethereal beings, but they were still had a physical aspect. Once we came here, then there had to be at least what we call physicality and the metaphysical energy. The light and physicality. So that, what's the tree of knowledge, good and evil, was the connection to those two things. It was the illusion of something disconnected from the light, something other than the light. How many of you have seen Kirlian photographs? Or you see pictures of aura? What is that? That's the light force that emanates, radiates from a human being. It's the light force. Not everybody can see it. Some people have the ability to see auras or that kind of energy or angels or things that exist on the other side of our five senses. And unfortunately, there's people who think people who can see auras, no, they're a little wacko. Why do they say that? Because they can't see it, right? And if they can't, right? Just like atoms. Those people don't believe in atoms and protons and neutrons and electrons because they can't see those either. Can you see a proton? Can you see a molecule? No. So how come we believe in it? You can't see gravity. You can see the effect of gravity, but you can't see the force of gravity. This is where people don't stop to be conscious. Like we said, consciousness is everything. So there's the two trees. Now you have a choice. We have to be able to exercise our free will. That's why we came into this world. To use our free will to imitate the Creator, to act like the Creator, to shine our light all the time. Be unconditional in our love and shining light on all people. So think about those people that you have a little issue with. Even if it's just for now, this time we're together, just channel. Let the light flow into the top of your head and out your heart to those people, to their heart and soul. You're not adding to their negativity, the opposite. You send light to their heart and soul, you're taking away some of the influence on them to do the thing that you don't like. Because only light will take away darkness. And whatever it is that you don't like that they've done, it's darkness. It's not the light of their soul. Like you and I. Can you honestly say that you never do anything that's not light? Okay, but we don't consider ourselves bad people, and we hope nobody hates us or dislikes us, although I'm sure there are people who do, right? But we're also filled with light. So you shine light on that person, you're connecting to the light. And you're helping them to awaken more light, which eventually will take away their negative behavior. Like you and I. More light you channel, the more you feel uncomfortable with your negative behavior, and the more you'll change it. Because we don't want to feel bad, do you? Okay. So here's Adam and Eve. They got the two trees, and now they have to make a choice. But if there's no opposition to the consciousness of just unconditional sharing, then how much free will do you have to exercise? If you go into the supermarket, there's only one item. Is it really a choice? If you go into a restaurant, there's only one item. Do you really have free will? You could say, because I can hear some of you, yeah, take it or not. Okay, yes, but you know what I mean. If there's only one item on the list, it's not a real free choice. That's it. That's it. So you had to have free choice. Who gave us free choice? Who else was in the Garden of Eden? Even as the Bible literal story says. They call it the snake. It's called the nachash. We call it the opponent. Right? That parasitic computer program we planted in our own head to put thoughts of opposition to sharing. That's it. Now, here comes something probably most of you don't understand or haven't learned. Because when the Bible calls it a snake, what do you think? Snake. Okay, you've seen snakes, hopefully not too close. I don't know, maybe some of you like them, but you see them in the zoo, you see pictures, right? A snake. So then you tell me, how fantastical does it have to be? A talking snake, right? Because the snake, according to the Bible, spoke to Adam and Eve. First to Eve, really. Eve, you know, God wants you to be like God, but maybe not. So if you really want to be like God and know everything, you better start eating of the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Right? Then you'll know everything, because then you'll know good and evil. If you only know good, then you can't know what the Creator knows, because the Creator must know also bad, which we know is not true. But in the story, right? For our lesson, yeah, that's what it says. So now, this is where you have to look a little deeper, and I guess you can trust me. I hope you could trust me. But in the Hebrew, the original language of the 5 books of Moses, of Genesis, it says, Adam and Eve were naked. Arum, it's called. They were naked. Okay, however you want to understand that. We understand spiritually, it just means they were pure energy. Right? Like we said, they were just radiating light. They had not yet disconnected from the light. But now it says about this nachash, what they call the snake. Have you ever seen a snake in a fancy suit? Yes? No? No. So then when it says, and the nachash was also arum, how come it doesn't translate and say, and the snake was also naked? Because if you think of a snake, I mean, hello, duh, right? Again, I've never seen a snake dressed. No, what does it mean? And this for me is probably one of the biggest points of today. Because when the Bible translates it, and if you've only read English, that's why you're a little confused. Adam and Eve were naked. Okay, we can kind of understand that, right? They just came out of the endless world. There were no clothes yet. But then the Nachash was also naked. So in the translation it says, was the most subtle of all the animals in the garden. Subtle. What does subtle mean to you? Subtle in what way? But that's the word it uses. No, the Kabbalists say, and this is the point. This Nachash, the opponent. Today we understand, right? The opponent, the parasitic program we put in our head that I read to you a couple weeks ago from Rabbi Chaim of Volozhin 200 years ago. It's an angel. It wants to be overcome. We programmed it to tempt us to be self-centered, selfish, egotistical, greedy, unsharing. We programmed it. So that program telling us not to share, to not get along, is tempting Adam and Eve. What do you think the true form of this Nachash was? What do you think it looked like? Do you think it looked like a snake? If the 5 books of Moses calls Adam and Eve Arum, calls the snake or the Nachash Arum, they have to be of the same form. This Nachash was also of a human form. Like we would say, 2 arms, 2 legs, head, ears, like Adam and Eve. Now here's the point. Think back, and maybe it was even today already, or for some of you it's already nighttime, so that's a different issue. But think back in these last 24 hours. Think one situation where you heard that voice in your head telling you to be upset, somehow to be reactive, and trying to justify that reactivity. They said a nasty thing, you have justification to be upset at them. Hold resentment. Okay, can you hold that thought for a moment, that vision? Yes? So now, envision that you, the one who's upset, standing in front of the mirror. And you're looking in the mirror, and you're looking at your vision, your reflection in the mirror, and you say, that son of a gun, they did that nasty thing, I am so angry. So your face is like this. What does the face in the mirror look like? Does it look with a big smile? If you're frowning, if you're upset, right, if you got that scowl on your face, what does the mirror look like? It looks like you. It looks like you. When we hear that voice of that opponent telling us not to share in whatever way, shape, or form, it's us. It looks like us. We've understood it's not us, it's the parasite. It imitates us. It looks like us, but it's not us. But in the moment you're angry, what does your opponent look like? Yeah, the voice sounds like us. We've talked about that often. That's why we've been fooled for all our lifetimes. Because it sounds like my voice. I grow up, I hear my voice, I hear the voice in my head say, oh, you can't do this and that or whatever it is. Sounds like my voice. So until I came to the center, I didn't understand that it was a add-on. It's not the real me. but it's an imposter. So when we're feeling reactive and we're hearing that voice, it looks like us. It looks like you angry. It looks like you jealous. It looks like you judging. It looks like you feeling lack, poor, blame, victim, guilt, shame. Looks like you. Doesn't look like someone else. Looks like us. That's what Adam and Eve were facing. They were in essence looking at a reflection of them. The choice, the image of that choice. Do you want to stay connected to the light? Or do you want to separate from the light and eat just of the tree of knowledge, good and evil? The Kabbalist, the Zohar says, the sin, so to speak, or the mistake we made was not just eating of the tree of knowledge, good and evil. That represents the physical world. We decided voluntarily to come out of the endless world into a physical world. So it can't be bad, the physical world. Not as long as it's connected with the light. The essence of what we're learning in the Kabbalah Center, how to live as the light, pure and perfect beings of light, unconditional love and sharing in all the ways, all the time, but in the physical world. That's why the Kabbalists didn't teach us, you know what? You want to have peace on earth? Everybody goes to their own mountain and sits all by themselves to meditate and have, whatever, all by themselves, commune with the Creator. We didn't have to leave the endless world to do that. We left the in essence, have at least Adam and Eve, two beings that had to learn to work together and be unified. Sadly, we didn't do it, so we split into 8 billion pieces. Now the whole work that we're to do, the only work of every human being on earth is how to reunite all those 8 billion pieces into the one. That's it. And that's why the opponent is there, just to create opposition. Be angry, be upset. Listen, here, what does the voice tell you in your head? I should be jealous of that person. I was supposed to get the promotion, not them. And they got it. I am so jealous. I've been thinking of the new car, and then my best friend just got a new car. I am so jealous. That's the opponent. That's the false you. You ever seen these movies where the good guy, good woman, looking in the mirror, but having some bad thoughts. So you see, right, they make the image of the mirror, right, the same person, but now the image in the mirror is looking at us. You should hate that person, right? Like they're two different people. You know those movies? So it's not just a reflection like you and I look in the mirror and you stick, you stick your tongue out and the vision sticks its tongue out, or you frown and it frowns. The one person's going through this inner struggle, and the vision, the reflection in the mirror, is talking on its own. You know what? You're right. You shouldn't like them. They did a bad thing. Be upset. Have a pity party. Go get them. Have revenge, whatever it may be. So it looks like two different people. That's what you and I are understanding. The opponent is not us. It's a false image of us. It's an imitation imposter. But it has a purpose to challenge us. Are you going to act selfishly, or are you going to act like the Creator? And when you act like the Creator, when you're feeling to act selfishly, huge blessings come your way, because you're turning darkness to light. You're turning some of your chaos into order. You're turning some of your curses into blessings. That's pretty powerful stuff. And I would also say pretty desirable, no? Would you like to have more blessings or less blessings today than yesterday? More! Not so sure. Right? We all want more blessings. So where are blessings hiding? In the darkness. And that's why those challenges come to us. It's a challenge we created by listening to the opponent, acting like the opponent. You and I, as Adam and Eve, we chose to listen to our opponent. That being that looked like us, reflected us. We listened to it, and we did, as the Kabbalists say, not just eating of the tree of knowledge, good and evil. We separated the physical world from the spiritual, endless world of light. That was the mistake. That was the mistake. If you have some electrical appliance that has to be plugged in, for me, the easy one is the vacuum, although they've got now cordless and all of that, but you have a corded vacuum. And you're vacuuming and pulling, and you're going further away and further away and further away, the electrical cord will stretch. You pull a little further, what happens? You pull the plug out of the electricity. The original sin. That's what it is, essentially why disconnected from the energy force of life of the vacuum. The electricity that needs to flow through the cord to make the vacuum motor work, you just disconnected. Separated the tree of life, or the tree of knowledge, the vacuum, from the tree of life, the electricity in the plug. That's it. So every time a person behaves, anger, jealousy, right, those other things, you have that voice in your head, insecure. Oh my God, what's going to happen? They're downsizing the job. The business, look, isn't doing so well. You just heard the third quarter, whatever it is, progress report, profits and loss. And then what does the opponent say? The one that looks like you in the mirror? What if you lose your job? You just bought something that you were making payments, and if you lose the job, how are you going to make the payments? You don't have that voice? Yes. But again, when you look in the mirror, who does it look like? It doesn't look like your boss. It looks like you. It doesn't look like the economy. It looks like you. All those things. Who do you want to blame? Person not feeling good, right? They're having tough times. Well, of course, the opponent says, it's not your fault. You're amazing. It's their fault, right? It's the economy. I don't know, it's the politics. It's the other people. It's your competitor. It's the other person in your office. It's got to be somebody else. The opponent just wants people to have a pity party. Be a victim and blame everybody else for everything. How long is that good for? Till the pain is overwhelming. Until the person's at the end of the rope in very desperate situations. At that point, when a person has enough pain, whether physical, spiritual, or emotional, what will they do? Then they'll go to do something about it. You and I are learning how not to wait for the end of the rope. The Rav used to call it, feel now you're at the end of your rope. Feel now you're at the bottom of the barrel. Even if you got $1 billion in the bank, feel you're now at the bottom, so you will have that desperate sense, how can I be more sharing? How can I be more forgiving? How can I be more tolerant? How can I be more generous? How can I be more humble? How can I be more apologizing? How can I have more trust that the light is the source of my lasting fulfillment? That's it. We want that kind of desperation. But when a person has a good life and a lot of things, easy not to feel desperate. No, we should always feel desperate for the light. Look at right now. Let me ask you, do you feel desperate for air? In this moment, do you actually have desperation for air? No, probably none of us didn't even think about it. But you know where I'm going with this? If heaven forbid somebody, not you guys, but if somebody was squeezing somebody's neck, or somebody was eating and something got stuck in the windpipe and suddenly now they couldn't breathe, would they be thinking of their business? Would they be thinking about the people who, I don't know, lied to them, cheated them, hurt them, this, that, other? What would they be desperate for? Air. So you and I are learning how to be desperate for air, which in simple terms means have gratitude. Be grateful all the time. I can breathe. Be grateful all the time. I have a car. I have consciousness. I'm alive. Something. Be grateful for something. I have food, clothing, and shelter. I'm not out, people, I don't want to put it on us, not out on the street, not in those kinds of situations. Have gratitude. So you're more and more desperate for the light. How can I get more light, more light, more light? Because it's the only thing, there's never enough. Other things, people can have too much of the physical material things. Too much for their vessel. It's keeping them in short-circuitedness. Now, I'm not telling you shouldn't have a nice life and comfortable things and like that, but you should always feel it's not the things, it's the light. And then start assessing. I think I shared with you just briefly the story. One of the students I had years ago in LA was a producer. And after he'd gone through his ups and downs, whatever, then he started to realize, and he used to teach all of his employees. He says, if you're going to a business meeting, and you're meeting your client or whatever it is in the restaurant, and you go to the valet and give your keys to the valet to park the car, if your mind is focused on what the valet is doing to your car instead of the business meeting and how to be good to that client, too much car for you. Get a cheaper car. Because if your mind is focused on the car, what's the valet doing to the car? Are they watching it? Are they doing it? Are they driving it this way, this, that, other thing? Instead of focus on how you can share with the client or your friends who are there in the dinner, in the social event, too much car for you. Same thing with the house. Same thing with people. We can do the same thing with people. Overdo it. And again, I'm not telling you be insensitive or unkind, you understand? But there is a point that we call the bread of shame. It's too much. It's too much. Why? Because it's about me. I'll do everything for this person because I want to make sure they'll always be there for me, love me, think I'm a good person, this, that, and the other thing. So is it really about sharing with them? Is it taking your light from your soul and sharing with them? No. It's about trying to get from them. But I have to give them something so I can get. And of course, we're always, whether you realize it or not, you're thinking, I'll give them one, so they'll give me 2, 3, 5, 10, or 100. Nobody's really thinking, I'll give them one, so they'll only give me a quarter. No, desire to receive oneself alone is always the opposite. They'll give one, and they want much more than that in return. You and I understand, no, I'll share 1, 5, 10, 100 of the light, in the channeling of the light, in all the ways of the light, whether it's time, money, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, whatever it is, because I know the light, the creator of the universe, is going to bring me back 5, 10 times more. Not that person. I want to make that person just my conduit to the universe, that it will come back to me. So you and I, as Adam and Eve, and to this day, we get caught in that rut. How can I get? But it's separating the tree of knowledge from the tree of life. Our job is to bring the physical world, the tree of knowledge, good and evil, back into unity with the tree of life. Because when we're connected to the light, as you and I learned from Kabbalah 1 forward, the light is infinite, darkness is not. So the only reality is light. There is no duality. We've talked in these last number of weeks, we talked about the other side. There's no darkness, there's no force to darkness. There's only the light. So it means in the midst of our challenging situation, there's still light, but we have to see through. Michael Berg gave a very nice analogy yesterday. He says if there were $1 million of gold bars in an ugly, dirty, torn sack, would you look at the sack and say, oh my God, I don't want that, throw it away? Or would you be willing to look inside the sack and see the $1 million of gold? Some people are already saying, yeah, I'd give away the sack. Oh, the sack, ugly sack. No, most of us say, no, I'll take the gold. I don't care. It's in a dirty sack. I'll take it out of the sack. So then look around those people, the people you don't like, the people you have issue with. All you're seeing is the dirty sack on the outside. We're learning here in the center, see the gold inside, see the pure and perfect light being, and help extract that out of the bag. Because you know what? If you're doing it for them, guess what's happening automatically to you? Some of your dirty sack is turning into, let's call it nice looking. At the same time, some of that gold is shining out into the world, right? That blessing is happening. We're creating our own world. So when we don't see the light, it's because it's a reflection of us. When you do see the light, it's also a reflection of us because everybody out there is a reflection of us. And yes, I know some of you are already going, he can't mean that. Does that mean these people who are murdering and robbing and all the horrible stuff are reflections of us? To the extent we're reactive, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that's a bitter pill for a lot of us. But if you don't accept that and work with it, then you'll never be able to stop chaos. You want to stop chaos, you've got to start seeing the light in those people, wake the light in them as you're sending more light out of you, which means you're awakening more light in you, revealing more light, manifesting more light, and experiencing more light. Then you can change the world from darkness to light. But as long as we who think we're the good spiritual people are still holding animosity, hurt, blame, victimization, sadness, or any limitation like that, then the world is also remaining separate from the tree of life. Our world is. So again, you don't have to hang out with them. You don't have to, we're not saying you like their behavior, but you got to connect to the light for your good. Let me ask you, that person, take all the nasty people ever been in your life this lifetime. Aren't you breathing the same air they're breathing? So how come you say, oh, that nasty person, I'm going to hold my breath until they come and act nicely? Would you consider that smart or stupid? So you and I are learning, even though we don't always have the eyes to see it, that by your holding that animosity, by your holding that separation from them, by your not seeing through the dirty sack on the outside and connecting to the light inside them, you're holding your spiritual breath. So don't wonder why there's still chaos and darkness in your life. It's like if you hold your breath and you start to feel that pain of the lungs, gee, I wonder why that is. Because fool, you're holding your breath. You're not channeling the light of the Creator in the breath of life in the oxygen. So if you're not channeling the light of the Creator, it's also the same thing but worse. So let's start accepting everything happens to us is within our capability. You know, I posted, I think, a while ago, because I saw it written somewhere, you know, some of us thinking there's impossible situations. Certain things, impossible. Can't overcome that, can't over that. So I saw something, I don't remember whose it is, but it wasn't mine, so I can't tell you exactly who. But you know the word impossible? They said there's nothing impossible. The word itself, think of how it's spelled. Actually, if you take it apart, it's I'm possible. I am possible. So you and I understand the infinite light. There's no ability to turn the darkness to light, to transcend, to overcome, to transform it. Yes, you have to work at it. Nobody's saying it's easy, but it's also, I have to tell you, never impossible. Never. That's why we offer people student meetings. You want to be one-on-one with a teacher? Meet one-on-one with one of the teachers in the center. Book a session. Because you may not be able to see where the possibilities are because you're so caught up in that darkness and that turmoil. That's why you have somebody, especially a Kabbalah teacher. They understand, they've learned from the Rav and Karen, you're right, they've learned from that lineage of Kabbalists who can help you see for yourself what you're not seeing. To help you see the possibilities of things you can do about that, quote, impossible situation. Because there's nothing comes our way that's impossible, no matter how dastardly or traumatic or whatever it may seem. Because in the end of the day, like we learned with Adam and Eve, there were only two choices, the tree of knowledge and the tree of life connected together, meaning acting like the light in and through the physical world, or heaven forbid, separate. That's the only choice. So a person who's blame, anger, victim, pity, all of that, they've separated from the tree of life. Okay, but the tree of life, that's why the Kabbalists say, where was the tree of life? In the center of the garden. Why? Accessible equally no matter who you are and where you've gone. No matter how far a person may think they are from the light force, it's right there accessible, right there in the center of the garden. All you have to do is reach out for it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So stop letting the opponent tell you no, you can't. Stop letting the opponent give you all the reasons why, the justification and the rationalization. With your five senses, of course, there's a million reasons to be angry, upset, hurt, all that stuff. But if you let the eyes, as it's called by the Zohar, the eyes of your heart see, you see the $1 million of gold through the bag. You see the pure and perfect righteous person inside the physical bag, right? Bag of flesh, let's call it, that you're looking at and seeing the negativity. Even when you look at yourself, tell me there's never a time you actually look at yourself, oh my God, that was foolish, and why did you do this, that, and the other? Same thing. Pause, like we always talk about. I'm a pure and perfect being of light. I'm a pure and perfect being of light. So are they. Also a pure and perfect being of light. So stop letting the opponent win. The opponent doesn't want to win. We created it there to oppose us, but it's really rooting for us to overcome it, to beat it, to reveal the light. Because as I read to you, I think last week or the week before, it's an angel of the Creator. Wants to be revealed as the angel of light and life, not as the angel of death. So we're divine creation. We're created as a divine being. We're given divine powers of the Creator's light. Healing, Unconditional love, caring, serenity, gratitude, prosperity, health, protection, all the good stuff. All the blessings you could ever imagine and thousands of times more. There's just one condition that's necessary to claim our true good. One condition, to claim and experience all those blessings. Acting like the light in the face of the darkness, in the face of the illusion, in the face of whatever the challenge may be. That's the only condition, nothing else. You don't have to change that person. You don't have to change the government. You don't have to change the politics. You don't have to change the economy, whatever. The Creator's light transcends it all. And everything is in the shape it is from our point of view, from how we behave. We are the creators of our world. So as we will then today start to claim what the Creator gave us, all of our unclaimed blessings, all of our unclaimed and unmanifest good, unclaimed love, peace, serenity. So let's you and I, starting today, make it easier for everybody to do their transformation together as one soul, because that's who we are, and speed up by our transformation, by our connecting through the illusion to the true light in every person on earth. Let's speed up the transformation and speed up the end of all pain, suffering, and death. God bless. So I want to thank you, all of those of you who connected with us today, sharing the videos. I know a lot of you, and I see more and more, so I want to thank you and encourage you. Just go back on the Facebook page and push share. Even if it's on your own timeline or however it works, just share with other people, because you have no idea how many of your friends that you're associated with in the social media, they're at, like, right on the fence, let's call it, waiting for a little bit of inspiration to be pushed into the side of the light. And yet you may be looking and go, oh, not them, they're not that spiritual. You don't know. You don't know how many times in the 36 years I'm in the center, two people have come to the center, kind of looked at each other. You're interested in Kabbalah? So that's all I'm saying. Just put it out there. What does it take? You push a button, send it out there. Right? I'm not asking you to twist arms or whatever, but you share it out there. Even if one of your friends accesses it, you've changed the whole world. And your life also. And their life and everybody in their life. So just share it. Also on YouTube. In a day or two, it'll be on the YouTube, the Spiritual Sunday YouTube channel. Share that also. I know there are people who don't go on some of the other ones, so I put it on YouTube. I also am working to put more and more of it on Instagram. So just look, just share whatever, the post, this and that, and you never know who's going to be the one who connects with it, who may be the person who will have a huge impact for all of us. Because there's no such thing as sending light into the cosmos that doesn't affect all 8 billion of us. That's why, again, if you don't have, for sure, get at least a pocket Zohar for your car and everywhere you go and everyone in your family. And if you already have, start carrying a few with you and share it with people. You never know. I've met people in the supermarket. You just walk by, you look, and for whatever reason, they start a little conversation. Where was I? I don't want to tell you which place. I went shopping the other day, a grocery store. And as I checked the self-checkout, and as I'm about to walk away, somebody said something to me. I won't give you the detail, but said something. And I looked at them, I said, would you like a pocket Zohar? It was just whatever they said. They looked, oh, Zohar, thank you so much. In the supermarket. So you never know where you'll find people. But carry a couple extra with you just to be there. Again, I'm not asking you to go out and try and force people, but here and there, you'll meet somebody, you'll just get the thought, and you say, look, I'd like to give you a gift of blessing, protection, health, peace, just for your good. 99% of the people today, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So just make sure you have in your house, you have with you, and your family's there. Okay, and again, if you want to make a one-on-one meeting with me or one of the teachers of the center, please just, you can Facebook me here, we can arrange something, or you can call the center if you want, or any center you're near, do that also. And I just want to throw something out. I don't know if I've told you before, there's a number of services now if you go on Kabbalah.com. We have Tikkun Healing Service, we have Angels, we have Dream Interpretation. And yes, if you're local here or you like online, that is one of the services that I came into this life with. I can't actually tell you it's about how great I am or how much whatever. I came in this lifetime just understanding dreams. Coming to the center is giving me a little more honing that skill. But if you have a dream that you want to understand what it means to you and how to use it in your life in a practical way, then you can also book a session with me or one of the other dream interpreters from Kabbalah.com. Okay? So it's our time of our offering. Let me put it here for those of you online. We cannot do it without you. I mean, in every way, shape, or form. There's no peace on earth if all 8 billion people aren't somehow contributing, right? So yes, you and I can activate the souls of those people to have a critical mass of light by spreading the Zohar. But we have to, in essence, reach and embrace all 8 billion people. So I would like to say, yeah, we have somebody who wanted to give us, $5 billion. We could spread enough Zohar. Maybe that's the end of all chaos. But meanwhile, we're not there yet. But if you and I can give more with our heart and with our blessing, which is why we take this time to do it with a blessing, let me put it here, then we'll attract people who will be able to, right? They have the resources, and now they're understanding it's not their brains gave them the resources. It came from their soul, from the universe, that they would use it in the most effective way to bring peace and harmony to the rest of the world. Those of you who have greater wisdom, it's to help share with other people who don't have the wisdom. Whatever your talents and abilities, share with other people. So too our resources. So let's take just a moment. Those of you here, just hold it in your hand. Those of you online, just to be with us. We just want to inject our love, our blessing, our gratitude, opening our heart and soul to truly acknowledge that it's from the gift of the Creator's light inside of us that gives us all the abilities, the talent, the capability to do what we do, and therefore to have what we have. And we know the Creator is unconditional love and sharing. And so too, we want to inject unconditional love into this gift. We want to activate, strengthen our desire to share uncomfortably, a little more than we thought, a little more than we think we're comfortable with. Stretch our vessel that it will be open to manifest more of the great blessings that the Creator's already implanted inside of us. And through the projects of the centers, we bring the Zohar and this wisdom to others, to activate the light in their soul, to also come to a stronger, clearer realization that they are also pure and perfect beings of light. And they have the strength, the capability to overcome any of the challenges and darkness in their life, to also turn their darkness to light. And we know this will create for us a return of 8 billion sparks of light as we reach out to those 8 billion hearts and souls. Together we say, Amen. Amen. So now I want to do, here we go. We have our 72 names of God. This is one of them. Those of you who are new or newer, the Hebrew letters are primordial. They come out of the endless world and take on these shapes. So they're unique pieces of the light of the Creator. In this case, it's Vav Vav Lamed, which is to defy gravity, meaning to overcome our desire to see oneself alone, to overcome our illusion, to overcome our connection to the tree of knowledge, good and evil, separated from the light. So just look at them, Vav Vav Lamed. Let them be engraved, the shapes, in your mind's eye. And if I can ask you, please make sure your phones are off so we don't get interrupted. Okay. Please sit comfortably in your seat, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. Taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, hold the breath for a moment, exhale through your mouth. Allowing the light of the Creator to circulate through you more powerfully, with more intensity. That it wash away whatever limiting thoughts, words, and actions that you may have held up to this point. Allowing the light inside you to be awakened to a higher degree, allowing yourself to relax more and more into the embrace of this infinite light. Feeling the vibration, the new tingling of the light that's been awakened. And now let's go to even a higher level. See above your head, Vav Vav Lamed. These 3 nanoparticles of the infinite light of the Creator. Envision the beam of energy, of light, coming from the endless world through these 3 nanoparticles, activating them, seeing them shine with bright, brilliant white light of the endless. See the 3 energies uniting as one, defying gravity of desire to receive oneself alone, allowing us to transcend all of our illusion, all of our limitations, all of our reactive behaviors. And now allow this energy, Vav Vav Lamed, to enter through the top of your head. And let it flow from head to toe, activating this light, the light of the tree of life, the tree of life reality, vision, clarity, perspective. Letting it flow from head to toe, that you feel and can perceive the true light force from your soul, that light that was implanted by the Creator in the endless. Feel it, allow it to bring every aspect of your body, mind, and soul into oneness. Feel your auric energy, the light of your soul shining out. And with the power of the Vav Vav Lamed, let that sphere of light that surrounds you expand, grow. See it enveloping, encircling all your family and friends, all your loved ones. Allow it to continue expanding, Vav Vav Lamed, reaching the heart, soul, and mind of more people, allowing it to continue to expand until you've literally embraced, enveloped every human being on earth, every human being on earth in this light of the Vav Vav Lamed. See these 8 billion people awakening to this newfound power, this new consciousness, the clear vision of the light inside them through the mud of whatever they may have done. And notice how, as you're expanding your light, your mud has also disappeared and revealing more and more light. So allow yourself to listen to the voice of your soul. It's giving you a message right now. Listen carefully. Record the message. A consciousness of an action. It's of great, great blessing to you as you'll implement it in your life now. Record the message that you're hearing. Keep it in your heart and your mind, that you'll not only remember, you'll also have the strength, the determination, and the clarity to act upon it, to take the action, reclaiming more of your unrevealed blessings, taking away some of your chaos, confusion, and revealing greater clarity, harmony, and order in your life. Together we'll take one more deep breath to anchor it and solidify this consciousness and to remember it. And as you exhale, slowly opening your eyes. God bless. Have a great day, a great week.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.